No.
Hi, my name is Christine Smith, and I'm here with Shealyn Anderson. We are part of the Wayner Group out here in the Scottsdale, Arizona, Phoenix area. And today we're going to be talking to you guys about why we made the change to Firepoint last April. So we've been on the platform for about 10 months now, how we made the transition, how things are going, questions. We're going to answer questions that we get asked a lot about making the move and why we made the move, and just getting into the weeds a little bit about some of the favorite things that we just love about the platform. So I'm going to let Shealyn kind of jump in and start answering some of the most commonly asked questions.
Yeah, so the first question you might be asking is, why did we move over, or what prompted us to make a move? I am more Christine is definitely going to be more the foot on the gas pedal type of person, and I'm always the one that's very hesitant to change. And if you have any kind of database or CRM going at this point, it's kind of a big task to not only learn a whole new system, but to move all of your stuff from your old system and make sure it gets transferred over safely and with all of the information that you want to make sure it doesn't get deleted from the old CRM before you get it in the new CRM. So I was very skeptical at first. I was like, I'm not sure about this. This is a big move, but I did the demo with Firepoint with Christine. We both met with the Firepoint rep, and I just couldn't deny, once I got a grasp of the big picture of what we're calling our tech stack of all of our different systems that we're using, I couldn't deny that this was going to be the wave of the future for our team. And when we were going into last year, we've been in a growth mode for the last 2 years, really expanding our production, expanding, and the market has shifted. The market has changed. Technology has become a huge part of scalability, of profitability. So that was a big reason for our move. So we'll kind of get into the weeds of making the move itself. One thing I will say on our end was, going into this move, I mean, you really just don't know what to expect, I guess. But we have all of our agents that we needed to train, and then we also needed to facilitate that data move. So the data move was probably the most intimidating part.
It was, yeah, it definitely was a big deal. And Firepoint, they have awesome representatives that can just explain the system so well. And obviously the demo that Shealyn and I went through was a very different demo than what the sales representative took our team through. So they were really good about speaking their language, making it very easy for them, getting them excited about a new system. And I know outside sales agents, salespeople in general, they're never excited when we tell them that we're changing systems, let alone a CRM. And our team leader, Jennifer, you can imagine the panic and how not excited she was that Shealyn and I were really pushing for us to change CRMs. And I'll be honest, even though we knew that technology was going to be having a significant impact on the way that real estate is done, April of 2019, we weren't at a point where our business was busting at the seams and we desperately needed a change. We weren't in a place where we needed to make a change with the CRM. We weren't disappointed per se with the CRM that we already had. We were just introduced to this new CRM, and it absolutely opened our eyes in scalability, team communication, and I think we can just kind of get into what some of our favorite things are with the platform. One of my very, very favorite things is the team communication. If you haven't taken a demo, you can mention another team member. You can add as many team members to one buyer or seller profile as you want to, and you can include everybody on that team communication. And that's not something that we had before with our previous CRM. And since we've been using that, it has absolutely started to keep everybody on the same page, because we do work very departmentalized, if you will. We have a wow coordinator, listing manager, closing manager, ISAs, and trying to keep everybody on the same page about what they talked to one client about was a real challenge for us before. So that was one solution. And coming from a perspective of managing a team and accountability, my very favorite thing was recording the calls, making all calls outbound through the CRM. And it just allowed us to really be able to coach our agents at such a different level. And for an ISA to have a conversation with a buyer, having them set that appointment and then be able to transfer that lead to an outside sales agent and to have them listen to that conversation, it just really allowed them to like take the baton exactly where the ISA left off and continue running with it. So those are my very top two favorite features of the CRM. I don't know, what are yours, Shealyn?
Yeah, I think it's important to note as we're talking about that, like I think that's helpful on any level and I know for the calls, you might want to kind of look into your like state laws on call recording or whatever. But just the call recording is huge. And I think the other thing too is even if you have a small team, one of the questions one of the reasons we're doing this review and one of the reasons we're talking about CRMs at all is because people are like, well, what's the best CRM? And at the end of the day, it truly is the CRM you're going to use the most, and you're going to plug into and you're going to utilize all the features that it has. But that's why it's so important to review these types of specific features, because for teams, I think the communication, the call recording is like bar none the best thing that we could have done for our team. One thing in there on that same line, I think you kind of mentioned it, but you can like mention in the notes, like as you make a note, you can mention anybody on the team, and that person gets a little notification, and that way they can jump in and say, oh, okay, I need to jump in, or it makes it like a little, I don't know, I think Slack channels sort of work like that, where you can mention everybody. But I love that. And then I also love, in that same vein, being able to see the whole history of everything that has happened on the lead. So it's definitely like huge accountability, because you can't like even if you take off a tag and put on a tag, like it will make a note of who removed the tag or who added it. So that's definitely helpful, because we use tags for things that are important, like commission splits. So if somebody you never know, like if somebody on the team just is newer and maybe they're not you don't have that trust, like you want to make sure that kind of stuff doesn't get messed up.
Yeah, with our old CRM, if somebody had assigned a lead to a different agent, there was not like a stamp in there to let you know that person A transferred this lead to person B. And that did cause some issues every once in a while. So now it's full transparency. There isn't a thing that you can do on a profile without it having a full history documentation of everything that happened and who did it. So like,
yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah. I think the other thing too that we really like, is all of the different ways that you can categorize and put filterable, if that's a word, type of content into the lead profile. So the statuses, from our old CRM to our, to this CRM, there's a lot more status options.
More, yeah.
And we really like, specifically, there's met likely and met unlikely. So it's like, oh, I already met with this person. They're not in a hot prospect anymore. I met with them, and it's either likely that we're going to work together or not.
Yeah. And with conversion numbers, that's such a key metric, knowing your appointment set to appointment held, and to know if it is likely going to happen or likely not. So that has given us a lot more transparency in our business and being able to, build out predictability of sales. So,
in conjunction with that, the lead types. So there's like the lead statuses, and then there's also the lead types. And one of the newer features that they just released that I'm really excited about is we do recruiting for our team. We work with a lot of vendors, and then we also have our clients. And a lot of some of that has been pooled up together. And I do a lot of our marketing, our email marketing, and we do Facebook ads from here and there. So I want to make sure that my buckets of people are I'm getting correct, like they're being pulled out of the CRM correctly. And now with lead types, you can do more than just buyer and seller. You can actually do buyer, seller, vendor, an agent, and I think there might be one other option, but I think that is really helpful for marketing purposes.
Our last CRM definitely didn't have that. In our last CRM, Shealyn, it didn't have the various roles of the team. Firepoint has, I think, 4 different levels of roles, and like ISA, admin, agent, and each role has a different level of permission. So that has been extremely a good thing. I can really see how other teams would.
Yeah, it was kind of like in our past CRM, it was kind of like you can either have access to only your leads or all the leads. You couldn't have any kind of yeah. Actually, on that note too, there's ponds, which we kind of had.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
We had this concept of ponds with our old CRM, where we had basically created a dummy account where we could log in and say that is the pond leads that you guys can go and fish in. But now Firepoint has real ponds, so we can group leads up, and we've been using this a lot with our new agents that I've been onboarding. We're giving them all of our zombie leads that we haven't been able to get in contact with, and we're saying, hey, here's a bucket of 300 leads. You can go prospect in that, and it's so much easier for us to segment out.
Yeah, and the lead routing rules in Firepoint are so unbelievable. I have been through a lot of CRMs from my corporate career. I was always a CRM super user, and I have not seen a CRM that has so many lead distribution rules that you can take advantage of. So if we are throwing a lead in a pond, we can notify 5 agents that have access to that pond that a new lead has been assigned to that pond. And it can work like a Shark Tank model, where the first one to claim that lead that just went into the pond actually gets it. So it has round robin. You can set things up by shifts, by days. The possibilities really just are endless.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually might change my favorites.
Okay.
Ponds might definitely make one of my top 2.
I'm a big fan of the ponds for sure. Let's talk about a little bit, because you said lead routing. So that means we have different sources all coming into the CRM, which is normal for any CRM. But let's talk about like APIs and connections that Firepoint has with other systems, because that is something that with our past CRM, they were kind of closed off with their API, and they were not really to me, honestly, I think
it was the Titanic, and them trying to turn the Titanic just took a very long time because the company was so big and had been around for so long. Yeah, and Firepoint, they have been very quick to innovate, and they've their integration partners that they have made a priority, I think, have been the best ones so far. Some of the integration partners.
I think the true sign of a really good, I mean, to me, like a CRM that's worth its weight is one that is going to be moving at hyperspeed with API, because let's be real, like there's so many, like a CRM is a data bank that you're putting stuff into and sending data out from. So if you're not able to like get that opened up real fast and be able to move with like other technologies that are like super innovative, like you're not going to be able to stay in the game, I don't think.
Yeah, our old CRM and just some of the old systems, I would say with our old tech stack, it would have like one-way integrations into it, and it still wouldn't be a full and complete integration. It was still super clunky. And Firepoint really understands the value of the two-way integration, like forwards and backwards. And that's working really well with Ylopo. Oh my gosh, Ylopo and call.
We'll have to do another video about that.
happier. I mean,
Yeah.
really, Firepoint has all of the basics covered, and we've been using Sisu for a while, and Firepoint is now able to be integrated with Sisu through RealSync. So
Mhm.
that makes accountability for your team just so much better.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have to do some deeper dive other videos into those systems because all of those are part of our dream team tech stack for sure.
Yeah.
Is there any downfalls or like things maybe people who wouldn't be a good fit for Firepoint or like things that were difficult for us in the transition that you can think of?
Well, we just expanded to Florida, and kind of bootstrapping the business down here in Florida. I will say that I was debating what CRM to go with, and cost being a factor. Obviously, there are cheaper CRMs, but you also get what you pay for. And do I want to go with a cheaper CRM and have to switch CRMs in a few months? Definitely not.
Mhm.
Um, but given the value you get with Firepoint and what's available on the market for the price, I definitely think that Firepoint is the best value for the price.
Mhm. I agree. And I don't think the price is outrageous. I think if you're a team and you're serious about, if you're serious about lead generation and you're serious about like getting your people organized and having good marketing flow, I think it's so worth it to invest. Like this is a core investment to your business. I don't think, I mean, we did pay, we moved when we moved CRMs, we were paying less at Firepoint than we were at our previous CRM.
Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, Firepoint was created by agents that have
Yeah,
been
owner
before.
Gabe, he was a team owner. I think he may still run a team in Boise, Idaho, but high level team owner that, was in the business, knew exactly what agents needed from a CRM. So this wasn't baked in a corporate room out of theory. I mean, this is a very practical solution.
Yeah. And I would say not like in the same train of thought of things that were difficult, not on Firepoint's part at all, but on our part. We kind of discussed this before we jumped on the call, but it's like you have to be pretty organized about your execution on this because if we're all being honest, salespeople can be a little bit like all over the place. Like you kind of got to wrangle them in, and you have to have a plan of attack for training, moving your team over because there's gonna be the people who don't want to change and who are like grumbly, and then there's gonna be the people who are like I don't really care, but they're not very organized at all anyway. So you gotta make it so that like they are zoned in on the most important parts of it, and then I think the other part is just being like open and being like, hey, things are gonna not be perfect for a few months, here's the thing, seeing that as an opportunity and seeing we move over and hey, we lost 1,000 searches or something like that. Okay, that's that you can either
For conversation, hey, I just want to update your search. Can you remind me what you're looking for? Creates a
yeah,
whole conversation. I totally
yep,
do. But
yep.
I would say, because we had talked about this, Shealyn, what we could do differently. And the sales rep from Firepoint was really amazing at getting our entire sales team excited about making the change.
Hmm.
After we had that demo call with our sales team, we did not start the transition right away. We did let there be a little bit of a gap period because Shealyn and I were, we were just really making sure that this was the right move. And in
Yeah.
hindsight, we should have just executed much sooner while the excitement level and the buy-in was still at its peak on the team.
Hmm.
We had waited a few weeks, and we really had to bring back this energy to make the agents continuously bought in. So anybody making this changeover with a team, I would definitely say get them in peak state and make the move like while they are in momentum.
Yeah,
And
yeah, like
you're
maybe
gonna have
hold
that.
off, like you get all your ducks in a row, hold off on announcing it to the team, and then just like make the move.
Yeah, and we had actually pulled aside who, you know, I think everybody has like those top 2 or 3 agents that kind of lead the pack, that you want to make sure you have their buy-in first. We let them know this was coming, and they were great advocates for us throughout the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
And you really just have to identify those people that are going to be early adapters of the system, and have them really talk about their successes so that the rest of the team will fall in line.
Yeah.
And
And that's like, I mean, honestly, I think it's a really unspoken thing. Some of the stuff that we've done with onboarding a lot of these systems really just in the last year, we've kind of been doing a lot of it all within the last year or so. But getting, and even in the long term, like onboarding new agents, is getting agent buy-in is something that I don't know if we discuss enough when we're talking to teams who are trying to use technology. Because if your agents aren't using it, if they're not like plugged in, I mean, they don't have to be perfect, they don't have to be like experts at it, but they need to be using it. And if they're going to be giving you pushback and saying like, I don't want any of my clients using this, I don't want, or whatever, like that's going to be a problem for your team. So I think that's a huge point of discussion of like how to get your team on board, how to get your team excited. And we're happy to really talk to anybody about that, about strategies if you're planning on making a move like that.
yeah, and we're using GroupMe at the time for our team communication line. But at the time when we first moved over, we were still doing that out of our Facebook group. And we had one conversation that we had started where people could just ask questions that they were dealing with on Firepoint. And it was this big, huge, long chain. And the same question that one agent had, like the other 8 agents had the same question. So it was a really good, when one person has a question, let's just train everybody on it at the same time. And
Yeah.
we're still doing CRM training. Like we still have one-on-one sessions with agents, and we do database management calls, and we dig into one underutilized thing within the system. And sometimes it's in a group setting, sometimes it's one-on-one, and we go deep.
Mm-hmm. I
But
think that's a really big part of the team part of, the database management coaching is like
yeah,
something that I have never heard any team talk about it, but I think like the
we need
database.
to come up with a more fun word though. Like nobody ever wants to sign up for database management coaching.
Yeah, like, yeah, I don't know, like get 5 deals from your database or something like that. But yeah, so we're I know we could probably talk about Firepoint all day, and we'll give it our 10 stars. And just, yeah, if anyone is looking to connect with us, we're happy to brainstorm or mastermind about systems. We're both systems lovers, so you can contact us by getting our information in the comments. And is there anything else you want to add, Christine?
No, I think that's it. Thank you guys.
Yeah.